Welcome to the Clique podcast. I'm Dani, a mindset and manifestation expert and founder of the Clique, a company that helps women overcome their fears and limiting beliefs to create a life and business that they love. Within this podcast, I will help you get clear on what you want, identify the blocks that are holding you back, transform your mindset and raise your vibration so that you can co-create magic with the universe. If you are looking to design a life that truly sets your soul on fire and manifest more success and abundance, then you are in the right place. Hello ladies, and welcome to a brand new episode. And for this episode, I want to chat with you guys about the importance of play and just allowing yourself to be the beginner, allowing yourself to making mistakes and having fun with it. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because this is something that I've been doing more of recently. And I've really started to notice the shifts within me because I've been allowing myself to be the beginner more, to have sort of more play and more fun within my life. And this really comes as a big reminder for all of us that we're not just here to get from A to B. We're not just here to get things done. We're not just here to manifest the end result, but we're here for the joy of co-creating. And when you invite more fun and more playfulness into your life, and you're not afraid of being the beginner, you're not afraid of failing or getting something wrong, when you are a little bit more playful with life, you get what you want far easier. And there's going to be joy within that too. Okay, so often we get focused on that end goal. I want, to be successful, or I want to be really good at this, or I want to have all of these things. But what is the point if getting from A to B, we are just miserable? Because something I will tell you is there will always be something more that you want. There's always going to be something more that you desire. You're not just going to get to that big goal you've got and then be content. Because a big part of human nature, I believe, is this desire to be constantly progressing, to constantly be evolving. Okay, so you might be thinking, oh, well, once I have all of the money in the bank, then I'll be happy. Or once I have that dream house, then I'll be happy. Yes, you may very well be very, very happy, but you will still crave and desire something more. Okay, because I do believe that that's just human nature, this desire to constantly evolve, constantly progress, constantly better ourselves and our lives. So coming back to my point is that if we're not going to be 100% fulfilled in getting to the goal, if we know that there's always going to be something more available to us, it's not just about the goal, it's got to be about the journey as well. And I'm sure you've all had this before, you've got to enjoy the journey, but I 100% believe this to be true. And one way to do this is by inviting more playfulness into your life, allowing yourself to be the beginner a little bit more. So this is something I've been experiencing recently. Myself and my family, we moved to Spain at the beginning of this year. I do not speak any Spanish, so I am a complete beginner when it comes to learning the language. Now, previously, whenever I've, tried to learn languages, I actually studied languages at school. I did French and German to A level. But one thing I always really struggled with was actually practicing my language outside of the classroom. I would get incredibly shy at trying to speak, let's say, French with a French because I was so worried that I would get it wrong. I was so worried about, I'll make a mistake or they won't understand me. I was so self-conscious that I never really practiced, even though deep down I could have probably, gotten by and been able to have a conversation with somebody. That was something I really struggled with. And it was because I was just so afraid of being the beginner. Now, however, I have kind of done a bit of a 180 on this, and I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid to mess things up. I don't have the same sort of level of self-consciousness about getting things wrong or making mistakes. And guess what? That just makes things so much more enjoyable. When you drop the expectations that you put on yourself to be great at something or to be perfect, life and the things that you are doing within life just become so much more enjoyable. So I've actually become a little bit hooked on learning Spanish. I keep going around with my earpods in and, pretty much for the whole day I'll be listening to some sort of app where, I'm trying to learn the language, and I'm not afraid to speak it with strangers. If I go to a restaurant, if I go somewhere, I will always make a conscious effort to speak in the language, even if I get it completely wrong and they look at me with just a blank stare. Something else I've been doing recently is playing paddle. Something that I've never done before. It's a pretty big thing here in Spain. It's kind of like a combination of squash and tennis. And sports, again, is something that I've normally been very reluctant to do something new because the thought of being the beginner and getting things wrong and it being difficult, when we start something new, it's that challenge of something we've never done before and it's hard, and sometimes we feel quite self-conscious about doing it. But I thought I'm going to give it a go because it's a really big thing here and it's quite a social sport. So it's been a great way to meet new people, especially coming to a country where I didn't know anybody. So I've been doing that as well. And again, I've really been enjoying it. I've been quite, playful with it and, having a bit of a laugh with it. Like, I'm not the best paddle player in the world, nor should I be, because I've only just started, and that is okay. Now, the reason that I'm talking about this is because going back to what I said earlier, we're not just here to get from A to B. We're not just here to tick things off a list and achieve things or manifest our desires. We're here for the joy of co-creation. And often we forget this, okay? Often we get so focused on the goal that we forget about the journey. We forget that the journey is supposed to be fun. Most of our life is a journey to something. It's going to be a journey to that next step. Like I said, once you get to the goal, do you think that will be it for your life? Absolutely not. I know this because I've had times in my life when I've said to myself, you know what? Once I have the dream home overseas, that will be it. I can't imagine myself ever wanting anything more than that. But of course, I got there. The beginning of this year, I got the dream home. And it's not like I've just now given up on goals and dreams. They just look a little bit different, okay? So I've got different goals and dreams now. There will always be something else, and that is okay. So it's so important, therefore, to make sure that because we're constantly on a journey to something, that journey is an enjoyable one. And what I see often play out, especially I see this play out when somebody's starting a new business. So obviously we train coaches, we certify coaches, and a big part of that is helping them grow their business online. And I see so often people making things more hard work for themselves because they are so consumed by perfectionism, by fear, by doing it wrong, by putting something out there and it not being amazing, of being judged. They're not allowing themselves to just be the beginner and be playful with it. And of course, when you're in that energy of it not being enjoyable, guess what? That energy is a low vibe frequency, and it makes manifesting your desires so much more difficult when you're trying to do that from a place of, oh, I'm not there yet, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, this is hard for me, this is challenging. Those are low vibe energies. That's, like creating low vibrational feelings within you. And we all know that to get amazing things in life, we need to be coming from that place of everything around me is incredible. Okay, so how do we do this? We do this by recognizing that there is joy in being the beginner. It's fun to make mistakes. How many times have you told yourself that it's fun to make mistakes? Or are you the opposite and you put a lot of pressure on yourself to not make a mistake because you feel that if you do, you'll be judged, you'll be laughed at? How many times have you got caught up in perfectionism to the point that it actually holds you back from actually taking any action at all? I think a lot of the time, because our desires and dreams are so important to us, we almost put so much pressure on ourselves to have it. okay, to get there. And we make it seem like this big, scary, overwhelming task to get from where we are to where we want to be. Rather than saying to ourselves, okay, you know what? I really want this to happen. Let's do this. Let's have a little bash at this. Let's have some fun along the way and just see how it goes. Let's roll with the punches. Okay, let's just, try things and, embrace that failure, try things and, embrace not being great at it first time. It's funny because we have, again, in our coach certification program, there is the opportunity for our students to practice their coaching and to get feedback from one of our coaches. And so often, students get so nervous and scared about actually putting themselves forward for one of these sessions. And when I've quizzed a few of them on this, they've said to me, I just don't feel ready yet. I'd like to practice a little bit more. And I have to remind them, this is the practice. The whole point of doing these sessions is to practice. If you were already great at it, there wouldn't be any need for these sessions. You wouldn't need to practice your coaching skills because you'd already be amazing. The idea is that you come to these sessions and embrace being rubbish. It's okay to be terrible at something first time round. The important thing is that you are putting yourself in the ring. You are trying, okay? And here's the thing, so often we are so afraid of failure or of judgment, we don't even allow ourselves to try. And so our dreams stay just that. They stay as dreams. They stay as this incredibly exciting destination that's somewhere in our futures, but we deny ourselves the chance of ever getting there because we do not allow ourselves to be the beginner. We don't allow ourselves to be playful with the journey. Now, something that happens, I've noticed, when we allow ourselves to be a little bit more playful. Think about this for a second. Think about a time when you have been learning something new, or you've been playing a game, maybe. I find that this happens with me in paddle, when I'm playing paddle and I'm having a lesson, and what happens is because I'm learning something new and there's a lot of new information to take in and I'm having fun with it, I am so distracted by this. I'm so, in the moment. I'm so focused on what I'm doing right now. I'm not really thinking about being the perfect paddle player or, winning matches, because I'm just in the moment right now. It was kind of similar to when I was watching my daughter learn to swim over the summer. So we would sort of sit and watch her, and she'd be in the water in the pool at our house, and we'd be kind of sat in the garden watching her. And she was without her armbands, and she was kind of at the shallow end of the pool on the steps. And we just kept watching her, trying to just go a little distance, keeping herself afloat without, putting her feet down on the floor. So actually, swimming unaided. And we just watched her just being in the moment. And what was really interesting was that the amount of time that she was spending in the water, just completely captivated by this new skill that she was trying to learn. She wasn't thinking necessarily about the end goal. She was just having fun. Okay, and there's a lot to be said for this. Children are very, very good at just playing for the sheer joy of it, for the fun of just being in that moment and just having fun with it, without kind of thinking, what am I creating? Is this going to be a masterpiece? When I see my daughter and my son sit down and, color, they're just coloring, they're not trying to create this massive work of art. They're just having fun. And I think as adults, we forget the ability to do this, okay? Everything becomes about being great at something straight away. But when we are so caught up in the now and just having fun with what we're doing right now and being playful and just allowing whatever experience we are in to be the most joyful that it can be, what we are doing in that moment is we are detaching from the outcome. And this is such an important part of the manifestation process. When we do something and we're so fixated with the end goal of where we've got to go, what we are often doing is we're putting ourselves in an energy of lack, because we're looking at, okay, well, I'm here right now. This is where I want to be, and I'm not there yet. We are not detached from the outcome. in order to manifest our desires, we have to obviously want those desires, but we have to be able to let them go. We have to be able to detach from the outcome, because when we do, we put ourselves in the energy of abundance. Think about it. If we're not thinking about the destination and we're just having fun right now and being playful right now with what we're doing, we're just focusing on what we have versus what we lack. And there is a lot to be said for that. So what I invite you to do this week is to think about, what can I do within my life that will allow me to be a bit more playful? In what ways am I resisting being the beginner, and how can I start to embrace being somebody who is completely new to something? How can I start embrace failing a little bit more and have fun with it? How can I start to be able to laugh at my mistakes a little bit more? Bring a bit more humor into the journey. How can I make the journey more enjoyable? So I'm so focused on the journey that I'm actually detaching from the outcome. Okay? How can I make it so it's not that all of the joy is within the destination? How can I make it so that the joy is within the moment that I am in right now? And I promise you're going to get to where you want to be a lot quicker, and it's obviously going to be a much more beautiful experience. Okay? So, again, I invite you ladies to think about, what can I do this week or, within my life moving forwards that allows me to be the beginner a bit more? How can I embrace that? In what ways can I bring more play into my life? And let me know how that goes. Let me know how that works out for you, because I'm sure it's going to make everything a lot easier, okay? Life doesn't need to be this really uphill battle and struggle all the time, There's going to be times when there are challenges, but more often than not, we want things to be fun. If it's not fun, we're not doing life right, okay? So come and say hello as always. Share your experiences with me. You can find me on Instagram at Dani_Watson_coaching. Have a beautiful week, and I will catch you on the next episode. Bye, ladies. If you are wanting to build your own successful online coaching business, make sure to check out Freedom, Abundance and Impact, our free 10-day business and mindset course for coaches and aspiring coaches. To access, simply head to wearetheclique.com and click free course in the menu.